to do?
Oh, yeah, it's been a week. I feel like I say that every time, though. Welcome to the Chi Talks. He says, she says. Keep detoxing the noise so ancient medicine becomes real life. Holy shit, did I have to remind myself of that, too. Internet trolls.
Wow, you did well. Wow, it just kind of came out.
It did.
Damn,
it did.
good.
Thank you. I know there's a couple of conversations ago where I could not remember for the life of me. My brain was not working that day. But,
did you have to think about it this time, or did it just come out?
No.
Nice.
It just flowed. So today's going to be a really good conversation. I feel good. Yeah. Why do you look scared? You have a look of trepidation in your eyes.
My back is just tight. My back is like so tight right now. Yeah, that's okay.
Why?
I don't know. It was fine yesterday. It was fine last night. Just this morning, even this morning actually, it wasn't bad. But like right now, it just feels like quite tight. Yeah, even sitting here, I'm like, ew, what the fuck? It's not good.
Is it because it's raining outside and you're kind of an old man-ish?
I think a lot of things are because I'm an old man. But this, I don't know. This has been kind of coming and going this past week. So, yeah. So it's coming right now. But
okay, I see.
We'll survive and we'll carry on. Yeah. How's your week been going?
I will say it was a roller coaster. It feels a little tame. It was almost like a hurricane of emotions for me.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah. How much of it are we going to talk about?
I actually was thinking about this. So, one, Instagram growth is great, but it also attracts a lot of very unhappy people, and you can't win. So for people, I feel like the kind of chill, regulated auntie when I say this, but I get triggered by like certain comments, right? It's not everything, and it's not every day. But I realized I did a look back. I was showering this morning and I was like, man, I could have handled some of those clapbacks a little better. I'm very proud of it. I mean, if you have seen my comments, it's like spicy. Just like take notes because I'm the queen of clapbacks. But then a little part of me is like, damn, what if this person was really like just an unhappy individual and I just like snap back? And then I have this internal dialogue between like the angel and the devil. It's like, no, but they started it, they deserved it, it's not your problem. The other side is like, yeah, but I'm trying to promote like balance and regulation. And so I kind of struggled. It was like a teeter-totter for me.
Yeah, no, I could totally see that.
But I think the best way that I have come to my conclusion is if you write some fucked up shit on my comments and you catch me on a spicy day, I'll send you a box of tampons for your bleeding asshole because I'm not going to hold back. Don't come and make my shit a very unsafe place for other people. If you don't like it, send it to my DM. But if you attack me publicly, I will respond in kind. I do not react, I respond. And people don't like when their energy gets matched. Other times, I'm like, you know what? Thank you for your concern. If you don't like it, just hit block or like move on. But I realize that people just are looking for a fight. I know that I've been there. But it's like, dude, if my whole plan, right, is like, let me post every day on different ways to ask questions for yourself. Let me just reframe certain things. And you get hung up on like a word that I use or, or what I'm wearing or what I look like. Dude, you've got other fish to fry at this point, right? Like, it's kind of crazy to me. And for all of my Chinese friends, beloveds, followers, anti-fans, haters, whoever you are, whatever side of the fence, I'm not Chinese. So let me just like make that very clear. I don't speak Chinese as well as I do. I'm not native. I'm Korean, but I'm also Korean American. So considering I don't have an accent in Korean, English, or Spanish, Chinese is not a language that I speak proficiently. I did, but I also, because I learned and studied Chinese medicine, I try to show honor and respect for the culture and the ways of saying it. So yeah, my intonation is probably fucked up. So for you to come on my page, watch like a minute and a half of it, and then write your pronunciation is ass, dude, then why don't you do it? Teach us how to say it better instead of just being a dickhead. And just because you're Chinese, I don't know if you speak Chinese, right? Like, but is there really a reason to come for somebody who's trying to show honor? I'm not trying to colonize on it or like putting it down. There's nicer ways to say things, right? So it's just like things like that just kind of like stressed me out.
Totally. I mean, I made the mistake of looking at your comment page the other day.
I found that hilarious though.
They weren't even like being mean to you, but I after I read it, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this person?
Thank you.
It was, what did they say? You did this, this post on, I mean, obviously Chinese medicine related stuff, but this person's takeaway was, why are you wearing such a big watch for your wrist?
Yeah, the comment verbatim was, why did you feel the need to wear a watch such a big watch or something like that?
Yeah, and after I read it, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this person?
Yeah.
Like, can we talk about what she actually was talking about, or do you want to focus everything on the size of the watch? And I couldn't help but like say something to this person.
Okay, so for all of you potential haters and trolls, yeah, my partner will fuck you up. But with that being said, first of all, let's make it very clear. I'm not wearing an extra large watch. Can you just show me your wrist for size? The watch is big, or maybe my wrist is small. I don't know, but like, do I feel the need? Maybe I have bad eyes.
It's just a normal iWatch, right?
It is. Right? It's an Apple Watch. I didn't commission them to make me a bigger one. So like, thank you for indirectly saying that I have nice, delicate little wrists. But like, there's other ways to say that, and also kind of maybe focus on the whole balance and like regulate your emotions part that I talk about. But if you want to talk about my watch, that's fine too. Which I did find. I was shocked when I got the notification.
I was shocked I was doing. So what am I doing? Am I like engaging with internet trolls right now?
But
I'm typing the message out, and I'm like, Jeff, should you type this? I'm just like, yeah, I should send.
So I did have a moment though. I think that I have been under a lot of stress, good stress. But a lot of it was bad duress stress. And that's what I always ask. Stress is good, right? If it's a good stress.
Yes.
Bad
Everything is stress, right?
Yes.
Exercise is stress.
Yes.
Eating food is stress.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this week, there was a couple big milestones for me, and some of them ended up being completely nightmarish. And I realized that everything for me was just stress. And so I kind of, if you're okay with that, I'd like to talk about stress and triggers today.
Mm-hmm.
I am now over 31K beloved strong on my Instagram, which is huge. I started posting because I just wanted conversations about what to ask yourself when you just felt like lost, right? I've been there. Like, I don't have all the answers. But then people started fighting me like, well, Western culture. And I'm like, okay, but in my defense, I'm an American living in the US. So when I say Western culture, I didn't mean the entire Western hemisphere of Europe and wherever else, because isn't it kind of all relative? But with that being said, I understand that some things can be taken out, and thank you for asking me, whether it's aggressively or in a fucked up, mean kind of way. I'm going to respond genuinely, right? And I'm going to explain myself, but I will not defend myself. I think there's a difference. But what I was realizing is I have a very specific trigger physically. I have a very physical, visceral response, like an organ response when I know that my stress kappa has been met, my threshold. I am one of the most regulated people you'll meet until I'm not, right? And a few days ago, I realized like my body, like I get really, like, my stomach is where I feel stress. And it's pretty common, right? Because they say the gut-brain axis, your gut, your stomach is your secondary brain. So there is some Western medical science that does back up this research that we always talk about in Chinese medicine. But for me specifically, I get very severe like gastritis. Like it feels like it's like acid. It's not acid reflux. I'm not like throwing up or anything. It just feels like my stomach starts contracting and then it starts twisting like into itself, and it's one of the most painful things. And then it comes with sweats, with my body getting extremely ice cold, and then I have to just like fetal position or I'll pass out and I'll be rushed to ER. Last time it happened was one of the most stressful periods of my life. It was probably like 5 or 6 years ago. But this week, I think it was like my body had been giving me signs. Like I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't like as regulated or as like neutral as I normally would have been. Comments were triggering me. Things were being felt a little bit more hypersensitive than they should have. And it's this constant nagging that I had of, okay, but you're supposed to be a healed or a healing persona, telling people how to stay regulated. You're teaching them how to be regulated. Should I be like this? And like that part compounded with the fact that I am human, right? It's like this weird place to be, and I think that added to the stress that I was feeling. So my caffeine and iced coffee intake, which by the way is another separate conversation, iced coffee didn't really contribute like too much to the whole stomach issue because my mental capacity was like being fed. So like we talk about it later. I know Jeff has a lot to say about the iced coffee thing. But yeah, triggers and stress are going to respond viscerally in your body, right? You can't just keep it all in your head because one has to find an outlet.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if a lot of people respond as like severely as I do, but I think it's worth taking a moment just to do like an inventory of all the most stressful times of your life. There's going to be a common thread of where your body responds, like how your body responds, and that is your weak organ, right? That's how it's easy way. So a lot of people are asking like, well, how do you know? How do I start reconnecting with myself? It's just to ask, okay, what has my body been showing me, right?
What are the physical symptoms?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I stopped sleeping, I stopped eating, and I already like don't have a huge appetite to begin with. So I don't notice the appetite too much, but it's when my body, because I run hot. Like I am extremely young, lots of energy. I can wear like a t-shirt in the middle of winter in New York and still be fine. But my body starts getting really cold, but it's like an internal cold where I feel it like inside out, and then my skin starts to get cold too.
Do you feel that from the stomach area?
No, it's my legs. My feet get into ice blocks, and then it starts traveling up, and then it centralizes. It's funny because my stomach though is on fire. It's because it's churning, it's eating itself. It's like it's eroding itself, and it's squeezing. There's so much energy, which is why
Does it feel warm in the stomach, or is it more
it's
contraction?
hot. No, it's hot.
Okay.
Yeah, which is why I think I know that all my energy, all my blood is focusing here, which is why my extremities start to lose that type of circulation. And then so it's hard because they tell you like, eating, sleeping, and pooping well are the 3 pillars of a grounded, balanced life. But I stopped sleeping, I stopped eating. And if you're not eating anything, you're really not going to be going to the bathroom, right? Or if you're not eating and you're purging either violently up or down, it's also a big problem. So I know my case is like pretty extreme. And like
yours is kind of obvious too, because your stomach is literally contracting.
Yes. And you can feel it. Like it's not a comfortable feeling. But it's like I wondered why I let myself get to that point. And then I think the secondary realization was I didn't even realize that whatever stressors, and I don't want to share about that right now, but it was eating away at me. Like I didn't like actually register that this was consuming me because it was just everything else was good. I was fine. Like work is good. Everything else was like working well, and it was like I compartmentalized too efficiently where I didn't realize this was rotting, right? And so when it kind of came out, I imploded, exploded, combusted internally, externally at the same time, and I just felt miserable, right?
How many days, like, how long was the lead up to this? Because you mentioned that you were already beginning to not sleep well and getting triggered a little more easily. How how long before the actual like crescendo did?
Oof.
Like how many days back do you recall things starting to feel a little off?
Well, I mean, hindsight 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So if I really look back at the grand scheme of things, probably like right after Independence Day.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like life was so busy. Like good, bad, chaotic, good stress.
Mm-hmm.
And also with Instagram blowing up, I knew, some part of me knew that it would attract not so warm people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was physically, I think logically I was prepared for it, but because I didn't realize that there was this festering hole, that I didn't realize that this other stuff would be affected too, right? So all this to say, you and I really want you to take what you will and leave what you won't, right? It might not be your stomach. It might be other parts of your body, or it might be fully internal or external for you. But what I'm saying is, we need to do check-ins with ourselves, because had I done that, I wouldn't have gotten to that point, and I wouldn't have, one, physically destroyed my health in a way that, like, it wasn't terrible, it wasn't like a severe thing, but just the mini check-ins of like, am I okay? Right? Like, because when somebody else asks, like, oh, how are you doing? We actually just take it as like a greeting. We don't actually wonder, like, oh, how am I doing, right? So one thing that I've implemented just recently is I check in with myself morning and at night. I'm like, how are we feeling? How do we feel about last night? And then at night before I go to sleep, I'm like, how are we feeling? And am I okay? Is there anything that I'm missing, right? So it's so much more work if you think about it, because you're like, oh my God, I have to worry about everybody else. But we should be wondering. I think something that you said about meditation kind of clicked that into place. You said, I meditate for everybody in my life. And I was like, you kind of can't do that, right? Like, meditation is like a self journey. But what you said afterwards was pretty much what all acupuncturists, all Chinese medicine people, all somatic workers, energy workers say, just in different forms. When you meditate, you are stabilizing your energy. And when you move through the universe, that stabilizes, it spreads, right? It's a little bit contagious. So if more of us meditated or checked in with ourselves, and we create almost like a force field, right? I don't know if the Star Wars people would be happy about that comment. But like, we do. And if like you're stable with where you are, whether that, and that doesn't mean like happy, balanced, and chilling. It could be, hey, I am stable in my instability today. Like, there are days that you wake up, you're like, damn, I just kind of feel a little sad.
Yeah, it's okay to feel like ass.
Right.
Totally okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you say ass?
Yeah.
Oh, I said sad, but that too.
I mean, yeah.
Both, right.
Anything.
Yeah. So it's like, and one of my wonderful friends now on Instagram said, I always thought that happy and anger were two separate things, but they're both stress. And I said, yeah. Happy just means it's good stress. You're still agitated, but in a positive light. When you're angry, you're agitated, but it's consuming you. So it's like, if we're going to be consumed anyways, might as well make it a symbiotic, mutual, beneficial. So we want to be like a happier or more stable, in the sense of we are regulated through that emotion. And that's something that I constantly have to remind myself also, because I do get into these modes of like, Buddha was never like this, Yoda's never like this, they're regulated as fuck. But like, we're human, right? And we're supposed to have the 7 major emotions in our lives to be fully balanced, which includes anger, which includes joy, which includes grief.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes, that when people think about how they should behave, and especially if they're like meditating and they're into the whole wellness and Zen, it feels like you are, if you get emotional, if you get angry, if you feel these emotions, like you're failing as a Zen practitioner, that you cannot be further away from the truth when you think like that. To me, because I've gone through this journey myself a lot, especially in the early days, you think what you're striving for is a state of peace all the time, but after having, I think, lived enough and practiced enough, what I aim for is really just a state of being natural within myself. So when things happen in your life, because you live life, things are gonna happen. Stress is gonna hit you. Your body and mind has a way of handling things by itself automatically.
Yeah.
And we just tend to get in the way of that with our idea of how we should behave, with our idea of, our ideal of who we want to be as a person. But really, we need to honor the way and the method that our heart and body deals with things. And I found that to be the most efficient way. So really, when you have emotions, it's your heart's way of kind of metabolizing what's been going on in your life. So obviously, we want to make good decisions. We don't want to put ourselves in situations where stressors can fuck us up on a daily basis. But we also have to live life, and there's some things that we just can't avoid. We have families, we have people in our lives that we have no choice but to take care of them and deal with it. And sometimes that can cause a lot of negative emotions. And to me, I kind of understand my journey as being, no, it's not about staying calm and zen all the time, but there is a state of being centered and balanced within anger and frustration. Right. There is still a sense of centeredness and balance that you can achieve. And that same sense of centeredness and balance applies to being overly happy or excited too, because like you're saying, you can be pulled in either direction, but as long as you kind of maintain your center through it all, then you're good.
Yeah.
So denying emotions is not the way. Pretending like these emotions don't affect you is not the way. So yeah, I think you put it very well, and you made me think of this whole thing just now.
So I'm responsible for this. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Well, I mean, I think it's a team effort.
I was thinking back to when we were like young, wild, and reckless. For me, it was like college, right? I just learned. I was so sheltered by the most extreme conservative parents. Like, my curfew was 7 p.m. and on my 21st birthday. Like, I had to fight to be home by 11. And like extremely conservative. And then I went to college and I learned the extreme opposite of saying no. And I got really good at saying no, to the point where I didn't want to say yes anymore, because it was easier to be insulated. It was easier to be isolated, and there was no like room for confusion, right? And like different triggers, certain words, certain assumptions would bother me. And for women, especially women, we're so conditioned to read micro expressions and micro shifts in energy so we can protect ourselves or defend ourselves. We don't know what exactly we're preparing to fight, but it's always a fight, right? And so I am extremely effective in reading energy. And I think it comes with, obviously, being in the practice of working with energy. I've gotten very good at it. But it also works against my favor, because I tend to put too much meaning into what somebody coulda, shoulda, woulda meant about this, when they could just be thoughtlessly saying something, not in a good or bad way, but they're just like, oh, they say something, but for me it might be triggering. So my lesson that I've learned, and it took, I would say in the past year and a half is where I really focused my energy on that, into learning that. But it took the course of my entire life to understand, I guess, the culmination of what I got to. It's kind of fucked up, but I say it sounds like a personal problem. Meaning, if the person is coming to me in a malicious or a bad way, wanting to be aggressive, but I don't take it that way, then it's like, dude's just having a bad day. But if I'm wanting and expecting to take it in a bad way, even if they didn't mean it that way, I'm going to take it twisted, right? So it's, if somebody's like for example, why do you say things like this? In text or like in an Instagram comment, it could be, why do you say things like this? Or why do you say things like this? Or why do you say things like this? But the feeling, the regulated state or dysregulated state that I'm in, I could completely misread this person's intention. So my regulated, for me, this is not for everyone, but what works for me, if you're similar to my personality, if you find yourself relating to a lot of things that I say, then what worked for me, and you can try playing around with this, is I go in with the assumption that they actually are genuinely asking me a question, right? It doesn't matter. And I've had comments, I have DMs, so if you're really wanting proof, I can screenshot and send it to you. But I had a guy being like, why are you challenging Western culture? Like, you don't even know shit about Western culture. And I did. I responded in a very unhealed way. It was very reckless. It was petty. And then before I hit send, I took a step back. And I said, this could be a teachable moment, or it could just be a troll wanting to start a fight. I have everything to lose if I assume that he's being a dickhead. Or I have something to gain if I say, hey, at least I tried, and you just want to be an asshole, right? Then I feel better about eviscerating him later. But I was like, hey, thanks so much for a great question. I think there's a little bit of confusion. This is what I meant to say. And for other people, the comments were like, oh, thank you for explaining, right? So whether he got it or not, the ripple effect of me taking a little bit of a step back and saying, maybe I'm being triggered, because again, I wouldn't have taken it that way if things were just happy, mellow, and chill, but I had so much going on. And I think I was looking for people to pick fights with me because I was in that mode already. I was fighting for a position. I was fighting for a promotion. I was fighting for this. And so everything indirectly feels like a fight waiting to happen, that I had to prove that I belonged here, that I proved I earned the 30,000 followers or whatever, that I know what I'm worth. So a lot of my comments moved from defending my credibility, defending my education, putting my resume for people that don't even give a fuck, to just being like, hey, thanks for a great question. Or somebody was like, hey, you sound like AI. This is just generic slop. Like, oh, you know. And a lot of you guys do question if it's AI. I can't prove that it's not AI. I'm also not going to waste my time persuading people that it is or it isn't, right? Think what you want, right? But at the end of the day, I post every day. I have posted every day since April 9th. Generic AI script slop or not, I'm showing up every day, and all of these lessons are things that, and Jeff can tell you, Jeff has been there through some of the most like triggering events of my life. I had really bad friction with another person in the wellness industry, which is a very tricky space to be because we are all interrelated. So my question to him, I called him, I think I sat in his clinic and I cried that day. I was so angry. I wasn't crying because I was mad, or I was sad. I was crying because I was angry. And if she wasn't in the industry space, I would have reacted very differently. But I needed to not react, I needed to respond because we were so interrelated. There's so much overlap in this area that if I did it one way, I felt performative and I felt fake. But if I did it the other way, it would be genuine, authentic, but it's not great for the wellness industry that's already fragile, right? So I think those moments, I just was like upset and I just sat here. The next day, the reel that I posted was directly correlated to the event that I had, right? All of my content, and because Jeff and I spend so much time together on the podcast, doing other business stuff together, he's kind of witnessed a lot of these like fucked up, good, fucked up, bad incidents where my next reel or my next content piece directly is in response to that for myself. So AI script or not, there is a genuine level of this is my journey, this is my vulnerability, but this is also a love letter to my own healing. And if you don't like it, sorry, just hit block and move on. There's no need to get nasty, there's no need to get ugly, but if you genuinely want a conversation, my DM is always open, and everyone on my comments will tell you I always respond to comments, I always respond to messages. Good or bad, you can come and whatever. It does come with triggering moments where you're like, damn, I just wanted to do something nice. I just wanted to create a small space of safety. And these people still want to make this a fucked up place. And like, it does make me feel bad. It does. I have cried in the morning, like looking at comments, like, you know, talking about my face or the way that I move my hands and stuff. And it's not a safe place or a nice place. But I also see it as, I mean, you saw the comments defending me too, like that.
Yeah.
Like people come to
way more people defending. Yeah. Actually, way more just in terms of positive versus negative comments. Way more positive comments.
Yeah.
So that's at least very uplifting.
Yeah. So it is like, it's, again, I wake up and I see all my notifications, and I have like hundreds of notifications in the morning because people are commenting or saying things, and my DMs are blowing up. And I do, like, my heart already is like pounding thinking about it. But I never know what I'm walking into in the morning. So I've shifted my routine. I don't look at I swipe off the notifications, or I mute them in the morning. I do my morning routine. I say my mantra. I have my meditation and prayer moment. And then when I feel stable and I know that I can separate someone else's emotions from mine, and I won't take on the assumption of where they're coming from, then I start looking. And then I respond genuinely. And sometimes it's a very, very spicy clapback, and sometimes it's a very, very nice, you know, thanks for your concern comment, right? Like very PR corporate speak.
Yeah, at least you're taking the time, though. I think that's the main thing that we need to keep improving ourselves is to take the time we need. Yeah. Right, because you had mentioned you were gonna write this nasty comment, but then you paused.
I did.
Right, I think that pause is really where we're allowed to choose who we want to be. We can either do this that we just normally would always do, or we could say, oh, maybe I want to do things a little differently this time. And I think if we give ourselves that pause in every aspect of our lives, then we can keep trying to make a better decision, a decision that takes more energy and effort on our part, but we know is the correct way to handle things. But I also want to point out that just in case people misunderstood what you were saying, like, she does not do any AI. I think the way you worded it, people might misunderstand and think that, because you're saying like AI or not, like, she does not do any AI.
That. I don't. Again, if for those who have been on this Chi Talks journey, none of this is scripted. Like, Jeff doesn't even know what we're going to talk about most of the time. I don't know what we're going to talk about. Literally. But like this little event happened yesterday. Right? Last week's conversation happened like 3 days before. Like, so we take what we have lived through the week, and we're not telling you this is what you should do in Chinese medicine. We're telling you, as people who practice Chinese medicine, Taoist philosophies, and Tai Chi, Qigong, like, we also are in the same struggles, but there's different questions that we may ask ourselves that Chinese medicine has taught us. And so, thank you for clarifying. Let me just make a blanket statement. No, I do not generate, like, AI scripts, okay? I don't. I probably should if I valued my efficiency and time, but this is, again, Jeff knows certain things about me because we've had extensive conversations. I think that whatever is worth value, anything that has worth in my life, I show respect by putting in the effort. And I think that's what is being communicated across screens, across Instagram shorts, where people feel like, and I've had so many beautiful comments saying it's very weird to feel like we're friends when you don't even know who I am, but I can feel your genuine authenticity. I can feel this is your journey, and it is. So that's why I did get really upset when so many people were like, oh, ChatGPT, like, create me a generic script, this is so stupid, or generic AI slop, or it does, because that feels like a personal attack against my journey, against my healing, against me, because I am putting myself out there. But I realized, hey, you know what? I'm flattered. If you think this is AI, I must be pretty damn good. So I don't. All of my content on a day. I don't have a content calendar. It's not planned out when I say. It's literally how I feel in the moment, what I've experienced recently. And so that's why my series is called Confession of a Chinese Medicine Doctor. It's not lessons or teachings, right? It's things that, and I'm not ashamed to tell you, like, I was dysregulated yesterday because I was in my feels and I was hurt that people would take something so personal that I'm putting out there. And you don't have to, right? Because again, it's a personal problem where I'm taking it offensively. But if you do think it's AI, I'm not going to change your mind. I can't. But if you're like, I don't care if it's AI, I'm getting what I need from this, you're kind of on the right track, right? Who cares if it's AI if you're getting the lessons that you need? But for those of you that can feel the sincerity in it, thank you, because that is what I do. I really do put myself onto a screen and I want to share it with you. So if anybody feels lonely or they feel like they're misunderstood or unseen, I don't want you to feel like that. That's why I call them my beloveds, right? You are loved. Be loved. And I'm there for you, right? So just don't send me like weird marriage proposals and stuff because that kind of creeps me out. I am very stably in a relationship, and it's weird when people are like, I want to marry you and I'm waiting for you to break up with your partner, like I'll be here. Please don't do that.
Fucking cringy shit, man.
Yeah, like that's weird.
What's wrong with these people?
It's weird. It's very scary, and some of them are in New York, and they know where I work, so like that part's a little scary. But keep it respectful. Just like, I want to be your friend. I want to help out with like your journeys. A lot of people actually started, I didn't tell you this, but I have 2 followers, 2 now friends, my beloveds, who are applying to acupuncture school. I just wrote a recommendation to my own alma mater in Southern California, to Dongguk University. So, like,
best choice you can
yeah,
this is the best profession.
Yeah, it is. And now 2 people who have very different perspectives, very different journeys and educations and foci, if you want to be technical, to ask, right? Like, some people are going to lean more towards herbs because that is where your passion is. Some of you are going to lean more towards acupuncture, or you're going to dabble into tween-hour bodywork or wherever else. Now you have 2 solid people to kind of guide you in when you do have rough patches.
Hit us up.
So, yeah.
We've been through the journey. We can offer a bit of guidance.
Yeah. So that I wanted to share that. Like, I'm very excited to have 2 soon-to-be juniors in our acupuncture industry who really do want to learn Chinese medicine from the foundations up. So welcome. And,
yeah, it's a long journey, and you really got to work your ass off. But holy shit, it is amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like we should circle back a little bit to, and I think this is an important topic because basically when you're having your stomach issues, right? And things you feel like are about to get real messy, right? And this makes me think of a lot of patients that, the beginning of a flare, and then when things happen, there will be internal reactions, the mind will kind of get crazy and start doing things very compulsively. Yeah. I want to know how you as a practitioner handle your mind, handle your body, when you can sense that shit is about to go down.
So as you just saw, I started this and I opened this can of worms and then I digressed into something else. That's one of my not great characteristics. I'm not avoidant when it comes to confrontation or having expressions and communication. But I am avoidant in the sense of I don't want to dwell on it, and I'll just throw myself into more work and more productivity, right? Because I know this about myself, this time I think a lot of emotional triggers happened that I haven't experienced ever before in my life. So I think I wasn't prepared. But if I've experienced it before, I know what to look for, and I know when to hit the yellow light and slow down. But when you're experiencing things for the first time, your body doesn't necessarily recognize them as triggers. And I think this is hindsight again, 2020. I knew I wasn't sleeping well. I knew that. And I was kind of falling back on old habits of I stopped sleeping, completely. I mean, I think I texted you one morning. I was like, yeah, I didn't sleep at all last night. I was very productive. I like knocked out a 15-page research paper. I was
like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then the night before, or like 2 nights before that, I was like, yeah, I was just so zoned into my paper. Like by the time I was like, man, I should probably go to sleep, it was 3:30 in the morning. So I noticed that I was avoiding sleeping. I was avoiding, all right, fuck it, let's be vulnerable. I avoid silence. I avoid, that's why I always have music going, or I have something, I'm doing something, or I'm like diverting my energy so that I don't focus on what's actually consuming me, because I'm not ready to unpack that emotional trigger. And in my head, I know it, so it's like a split decision. Logically, in my head, I know what I'm doing. And my Shen, my consciousness, my body's like, don't do this. And my brain is like, shut up. We can get through this if I don't know. Like, let's just get through the milestones. Let's just do what we need to do to get to the next spot, right? But I think good stress, bad stress, emotional, good and bad triggers happened so close together that I didn't have time to really compartmentalize. Like it's almost like I didn't fully close the lid and it blew up, right? And my body got caught in the crossfires because I wasn't wanting to. When a specific trigger got too bad, and I knew, when I finally recognized that my body was shutting down, I tend to cut and run. And it's like, let's cut the dead. It's like an iguana where you like cut off your tail because it'll grow back, right? As a practitioner, because that's how I react, a lot of women that have stress that are like, oh no, I'm fine. I'm like, no, you're not. You're just like me. And we'll start working backwards very slowly of how are you sleeping? How are you sleeping? Are you eating? What are you eating? How many times do you go to the bathroom? When's the last time you cried or yelled? Right? And so when I start asking those questions, they're like, oh shit. Oh my God, no, I'm not sleeping. Oh, because you don't realize, I don't realize it until I like text you or I text somebody. I'm like, dude, I didn't sleep at all last night. And they're like, are you tired? I'm like, no. And that's when I'm like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm. That's a problem.
So, but the thing is, your body, it's natural for you. You don't sleep one night, the next day you're tired. I can go 3 or 4 days with collectively 2 hours of sleep and function just fine. And then 2 weeks later, I'm hooked up to an IV in the ER because I passed out somewhere on the way to work. So with those safeguards, if I have to ask myself, when's the last time I ate? And because I don't really have a big appetite, so I don't remember to eat a lot of times. So for people like that, for people that don't drink a lot of water, that don't go to the bathroom, that don't eat because you're in a very, very high stress, high functioning job, set alarms. I swear to God, this is what worked for me. I set an alarm every hour so that I would drink a sip of water. And I only buy, people are going to hate me for this, but I have the, disposable water bottles, like the Evian or Fiji or whatever. And in a day, I would have to finish that or I would feel like my homework wasn't done. And so I had to set alarms every hour to stop what I'm doing. And when I turned off the alarm, I would drink water. And then I would have an alarm every 4 hours to check, like, do I need to go to the bathroom, right? And then 9 a.m., breakfast, 12 to 1, depending, I'd have to have lunch. And around 6 to 7, I would have an alarm for dinner. And so I had to force my body to get into the habit of needing it. So it's like Pavlov's dogs in conditioning. And then when I broke that routine, I would have to physically ask myself, when is the last time you did this? And then I was like, oh my God, I'm doing it again.
Wow, we're like polar opposites. Like seriously.
I'm not really surprised.
You have this ability to just kind of push through what's happening. And I think this is a very important ability to have. And for some people, they really need to exercise it because they'll get bogged down in things that they really need to push through, right? And then sometimes I think for you especially, you should push less and slow down when things are happening. But for me, I'm a little bit the opposite. If my body starts to feel off, I just slow down immediately. And I'm like, what is going on? And I'll really kind of sit on it. And then I think yeah, I'll just try to be there with it. I'll try to be present. But then what it inevitably ends up happening is I think I slow down a little too much. And then actually the way you handle it is probably I need more of that to just at some point it's like, okay, the body, it's like kind of recalibrating, but I'm still kind of stuck in the mud because I've slowed down so much just to try to be with the issue and try to observe it and analyze it and let it kind of unravel that I get a little stuck. So it's interesting because I feel like I need to just be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna ignore it, because there's a lot of things in your life where it's noise. It's not affecting you the way you think it's affecting you, and you really just gotta move through it. So I find it hilarious that
we're so polar opposite.
We are absolutely polar opposite.
I do have a suggestion, if I may, for you and people like you. I used to get so in my head about wanting to understand why somebody didn't like me or why somebody said something to me, like if it was me. And again, my MBTI is 50-50 split between I and E, but I think E is a learned behavior because of my work. I'm an ISTJ, which is a sentinel, which means only black and white. It's very... So I get called robotic or emotionless, frigid ice bitch a lot. It's not that I don't have emotions, but I don't like being in that space where I'm throwing myself a pity party, because it's so easy to feel good about being sad or about being hurt or being a victim, right? Because a lot of people are very sympathetic to that. And it's nice to have people show you love, show you care and compassion, which is why a lot of my friends do. And I'm like, no, you've acknowledged the hurt, we've acknowledged the emotion. There's nothing we can do about what the other person does or says or is. Have we exhausted everything that we could have done? Yes, then let's move it the fuck on. It's not easy, because my friends were like, no, but you don't get it. I'm still stuck. Like mentally, I'm still stuck in this. And I get it. I have fixations. I need to understand a why before I can move on. But I set myself 3 basic questions. 1, does this make me money? Living in New York City, I have rent, I have bills, and I have a lifestyle that I want to upkeep. So I'm like, does this make me money? 2, is this going to save me money? And if the answer to these are no and or yes, the last question has to be, this is an or, 1 or 2, and 3, does this make me happy? And that third bunker is the most important, because sometimes that third question is the major difference between whether I hit send on a very spicy clapback or I put in a different one. Is this going to make me happy that I responded genuinely to somebody trying to put me down? Yes, I'll deal with the aftermath later. Most oftentimes, no, it's not worth the fucking price tag that I'm about to pay for a moment of... Because anger breeds regret, right? It's unfortunate.
That's a very cool idea. 3 questions.
Yes.
I think the art of asking questions is actually something that people don't think about too often.
Yeah.
But so important.
Yeah.
So important. You're basically designing who you want to be in the form of these questions.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, I think that is great advice. Great advice. I remember, going and training with my master. I had a kung fu brother who would always be like, do you have any questions? And I'm like, not really. And I just remember him kind of drilling it into my head in that, number 1, asking questions is your intention to improve.
Yes.
Your intention to get somewhere. And then the way in which you want to get there, that's what your questions represent. So there was a little bit of time where I sat down and I just really just explored the idea of what is even a question and like how do you ask questions. And I feel like everyone should really do that because the way you ask your questions, and then also especially obviously the answers to the questions is going to be so important to building something you want to build. Yeah.
A lot of times people don't know what to ask. And I find that, like, when I'm like, do you have any questions for me? They're like, I'm like, what am I saying? You don't even know what to ask because you don't know what you're wanting or needing, right? So a good starting point is, what do I want? Or what do I need? The very basic, but that's also a very complex question because most of us don't know what we ourselves are wanting or needing. We know what everybody else wants and needs. So to ask yourself, what do I want? What do I need? I started with very simple things. Do I want coffee or do I want tea? Do I want water or do I want this? It's asking myself. And then the secondary question is, do I want this and do I need this? So then you start to ask questions and you start to formulate new ones and you start to formulate like, oh, I'm safe to answer. I'm safe to have a response. And it's okay, honestly, to say, you know what, fuck it, I don't know. But to be able to verbalize and admit that you don't know just releases this defensive, performative behavior for some reason. You know what, fuck it, I don't know. And then you're like, oh shit, why don't I know?
Yeah.
The worst part is asking about food. I have decision paralysis and you're like, what do you want to eat? I'm like, food. Do you have a preference? Not whatever you want. And they hate it. It's like the Notebook. What do you want? I don't know. Like, I don't. Unless I have like a specific craving. So I give options. I'm like Chinese, Japanese, or Italian. And then we narrow down from there. So start with questions. Start with options, right? Ask yourself, do I want X, Y, or Z? Never have more than 3 options because then it becomes overwhelming. So I guess, yeah, that's how I've been kind of managing and navigating my stressful July. And now that we are in August, I'm feeling revitalized and feeling...
Let's get it.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Chi Talks in a few weeks will be coming to you from South Korea. It's insane. We're having some exciting things planned for you guys. So
lots of shit coming up.
Yeah, and also we're gonna have our first in-person Chi Talks event. So very excited to be bringing this to you guys live. So stay tuned.
Coming at you.
You.
All right. Wow, I think this was a good episode, huh?
Yeah. It was, just let me throw up all my trauma on you guys. So thank you for...
That was great. There's also a lot of insightful things, though, because I think my favorite part about the episode is that we're human. We have problems. We're practitioners, and we have our viewpoints on things, and a lot of people, pay us money to help them with their problems. But we got problems too, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're on the journey too.
Yeah. Exactly what he said.
All right, well, that's the Chi Talks.
Mm-hmm.
Keep detoxing and let your body do what it do.